Hi everyone, welcome. Today I'd like to talk about longevity. Have you ever heard the word longevity? When I first heard it, I thought, longevity, what is that? I honestly had no idea. So, longevity. In Japanese, it lines up with the idea of a long, healthy life. That's probably the best way to put it, but it also carries a flavor of rejuvenation, of growing younger. When we say long, healthy life in Japan, we picture someone who's gotten on in years but is still going strong, someone 110 or 120 years old. But what longevity is really aiming at, as the phrase long, healthy life suggests, is living a long time in a youthful body. That's the idea packed into the word. Today I want to look at longevity from two angles: the mechanisms of aging, how our cells actually age, and also what's happening with longevity in America and around the world.
So, Koji, when it comes to this idea of a long, healthy life, it starts to sound like science fiction. But let me jump ahead with a question. Humans have a lifespan, of course, but as this research keeps advancing, is it something where we could end up living forever?
No. Take the human survival curve, for example. At age 0, a whole lot of people are alive. As the years go by, more and more pass away, and you get this tapering curve, an asymptotic curve. And because it's asymptotic, in theory, it never quite touches 0, right? That's the shape of it. So, given how long human history is, you'd think every now and then someone would suddenly realize, whoa, I'm 10,000 years old, or I'm 500, or I'm 2,000. There ought to be people like that here and there, but sadly, there aren't. There's a maximum human lifespan, biologically as an organism, of around 128, and that's where the curve just abruptly ends. We don't know why that is, so extending that hard limit is a separate challenge altogether. But on the other hand, there's also something called healthy life expectancy. I'd really encourage you to look at this on a graph. This is the span you can stay healthy, not just the span you're alive. There's a gap between how long you live, how long you survive as an organism before you die, and how long you stay healthy. And that gap is the part of your life where you're living but going through some kind of hardship, being bedridden, say, or having knees so painful you can barely move. That stretch when you're not quite healthy anymore. On average, over a whole lifetime here in Japan, how long do you think that period is?
My own guess would be, about 3 to 5 years?
Right, exactly. In Japan, average life expectancy is over 80, 83 or so. But healthy life expectancy is about 10 years lower than that, on average.
It's that much?
It is. And in the US, average life expectancy is in the late 70s, around 77. But healthy life expectancy is about 15 years shorter, down in the late 60s. The gap there is really wide. America has the widest gap. Japan is actually on the narrower end, and even so, it's about 10 years. Just bringing healthy life expectancy closer to total lifespan is worth a lot in itself. And that's the first step of longevity.
So in practice, even if we can't physically stretch lifespan out to 200 years, the aim is to extend the time you stay healthy and cut down the time spent ill or unwell.
That's exactly it. That's the ideal everyone's reaching for. So the word longevity actually contains 3 ideas. The first, as you just said, Kazuki, is extending lifespan. That's longevity too. The second is extending the time you can stay healthy. And the third is that sci-fi sounding future of actually growing younger. Aiming at these 3 is what we mean by longevity.
Thank you. So fundamentally, as the years go by, the human body keeps aging and gradually grows weaker. That's the course it follows. Koji, to begin with, what is aging? Why do people grow old? Could you walk us through that?
To understand why we age, I think it's best to start with what our bodies are made of. Our bodies are built from something like 36 trillion cells. We're basically a collection of cells, which means when cells go bad, we age. So why do cells have to go bad? There's actually a reason cells have to age. Here's why. If a damaged cell stays in the body and keeps going strong, it can run out of control and turn cancerous. So before that happens, the body ages it and shuts it down. That's the mechanism. We live exposed to the outside world, so day after day our cells take damage from UV and all kinds of things and get injured. A certain number of cells end up broken, and the body deliberately ages them to shut them down. For something that lives for decades out in the world as a multicellular organism, it's a kind of trade-off, and longevity research is trying to push past it. To put it more simply, there are plenty of organisms that live to 500. You may or may not know this, but those organisms generally live somewhere cold, barely move, and grow incredibly slowly. They keep their metabolism extremely low. And they live in places like the deep sea. The Greenland shark, for instance, a shark that hardly moves, lives to 200 or 300. But we humans don't actually want to grow slowly in some cold, dark place and just sit perfectly still, do we? So, staying healthy while being active, that's the hard part. There's an even more remarkable creature, a deep-sea, sea squirt-like animal that's estimated to live to around 500. But would we all want to end up like that sea squirt, sitting motionless? Absolutely not. For an organism that lives exposed to the outside world, its cells taking damage, made of huge numbers of cells, to live reasonably long, for decades, it had no choice but to build in a mechanism for aging. Aging came about as that trade-off. That's the background.
So, in terms of how the human body, how our cells are built, that's just how it's set. As longevity and this kind of science and technology keep advancing, you were saying the focus is less on the body's lifespan itself and more on extending the time we can stay healthy. And looking around the world, this kind of research into longevity is being pursued pretty actively, isn't it?
It's grown enormously, really, just in the last 2 or 3 years. In that short span, the amount being invested, including in the US, has shot up. For example, you may know the name Sam Altman. He's the founder of OpenAI, the company that made ChatGPT. Out of his own personal fortune, he put in 24 billion yen, about 180 million US dollars, right at the start, to launch a company called RetroBio. At a point when there was no technology to speak of, he put in that 24 billion yen to make it happen. And then there's Jeff Bezos with Altos Labs. All told, counting everyone's venture investment and the rest, Altos Labs raised 450 billion yen, around 3 billion US dollars, and Bezos reportedly put up about half of it himself. And this was the very first move of its kind, when there was nothing yet. That's practically a national budget. That's the scale of what they were doing. Google, too, teamed up with a pharmaceutical company, a venture called Calico, and launched a project of around 150 billion yen, on the order of 1 to 1.5 billion US dollars, to invest in this area. So everyone's moving hard toward longevity, toward living longer, and the research has really advanced these past few years.
So it's especially the big players in America pouring in these huge investments. Looking globally then, the US is fairly far ahead on investment and that side of things.
With longevity right now? Absolutely. The US, Silicon Valley in particular, is out in front. And the big shift in mindset that happened there is this. In America, they've started saying aging is a disease. They treat it as a condition nearly everyone develops as they approach 40, one that keeps progressing until you die. So there must be a drug that cures it, and that's what they're trying to make. With that framing, aging isn't just a normal part of life, it's a disease and therefore something we can cure. They've built the concept, put money behind it, and run with it. And that's not a bad thing at all. A lot has come into view these last few years. Some of it we already knew, but more is becoming clear. We've come to understand a good deal about why the body ages, and it's thought to break down into 3 broad mechanisms. The first, since our bodies are made of cells, the inside of the cell goes bad. It ages. Second, because the insides go bad, a lot of senescent cells form in the body. And third, because there are now so many of these senescent cells, senescence factors get produced in the body. Those are the three. So, the inside's going bad, those bad cells multiplying, and, because there are so many of them, senescence factors being released. That's the three stages. Let me explain them step by step. The inside's going bad. That's the mitochondria, the part that makes energy, deteriorating, for one. And, you may or may not know this, the ends of the DNA gradually shorten. That's what's called the telomere. That part shortens. Or there's what's called DNA modification. As DNA ages, all sorts of accessories get attached to it, and then genes become harder to express. There are mechanisms for that too. The third one, autophagy, which won a Nobel Prize, or the proteasome. Inside the cell, a lot of old proteins get made, so there's a mechanism to break them down and replace them with new ones. When that goes bad, a lot of aged protein builds up inside the cell. The most representative example is Alzheimer's. In Alzheimer's, amyloid beta clumps together, it piles up as aged protein, can no longer be broken down, and the neurons end up dying off. That's the disease. And it's not only Alzheimer's. Huntington's disease is like this too, and ALS has some of this component as well. So replacing proteins is crucial, and when that breaks down, the cell goes bad. That's the first one. The second, clearing out the contents in that first stage. That's where NMN and the like come in. NMN is a drug that stops the mitochondrial aging I just mentioned. It keeps the inside of the cell clean.
NMN is sold widely as a supplement these days, isn't it? So that's exactly this kind of thing.
Yes, NMN works precisely here. It activates the genes upstream of the mitochondria, keeps the mitochondria energized, and that keeps the cell's interior healthy. That's the stage it acts on. Then, in the worst case, when a cell has already gone bad, you remove it. This is what's called senolytics. The idea that clearing out those cells might rejuvenate the body. A lot of work is going into that too. The third, senescent cells turn up in large numbers, so finding the senescence factors they put out and stopping them from being released, a lot of that is being done as well. The classic example of such a senescence factor is what's called an inflammatory cytokine. When senescent cells are present, inflammatory cytokines get released, and the result is what's called SASP. Inflammation-linked, aging-promoting effects spread through the whole body. That's what's been described. So in experiments with mice and so on, knocking out part of these inflammatory cytokines can actually extend lifespan, so they appear to be connected. And in older people, the concentration of those inflammatory cytokines is high. A great deal of this has come to light.
So this kind of multifaceted research is going on all the time. From your vantage point, Koji, what would you say is the most advanced area in longevity research right now?
This is a completely different approach, but diet and health management, how lifespan can be extended through those. Quite a few people are seriously working on it, and research with that concept is progressing. For example, in a slightly hungry fasting state versus having overeaten, the sirtuin genes that activate the mitochondria I mentioned earlier get boosted. So do a little fasting, though if you overdo the fasting, you'll be in real trouble. Building that into a program, figuring out what kind of lifestyle suppresses aging, that research does seem to be advancing.
Everyone wants to stay healthy forever, to keep a body that can always move. And yet, looking back on your daily life and habits, plenty of people realize, I'm not exactly living healthily. So when it comes to longevity and extending healthy life expectancy, is there anything we can start doing right now?
It really comes down to rethinking your diet and what you eat. But people don't know how to rethink it, right? So now, around the world, longevity clinics and longevity consultations have started up. They finally announced a top 50 longevity clinics, and Japan doesn't have a single one on it. And it's not just today's wealthy abroad, the health-conscious crowd. Their vacations used to be all sightseeing or going to the beach and drinking beer. But lately, instead, they go on what's called a longevity retreat, a longevity camp, staying at a hotel for about a week doing things that are good for the body. As I mentioned, diet is managed there as part of the retreat, along with sleep management, exercise management, meditation, and the more active medical side of longevity treatment too. And these days, between when you arrive and when you leave, they can measure your biological age, so you can see how many years younger did I get. People go through it again and again, doing things that are good for the body. There are people taking part in exactly that kind of longevity boot camp.
Hearing all this, it's not very familiar in Japan yet. There still aren't many people with this kind of awareness, and longevity clinics aren't common as facilities either. So Koji, through your work going forward, do you have an aim of raising awareness of longevity here in Japan?
Yes, as you say, Kazuki. I think that's exactly the right question. What we want, first of all, is to raise people's quality of life. We may not know whether we can extend lifespan, but toward raising quality of life and, as we said, extending healthy life expectancy, I think we can contribute a great deal. And if we can contribute using iPSCell technology, I believe that's achievable, and that's the direction we're taking our research.
If healthy life expectancy grows, daily life naturally becomes happier too. And of course, being able to spend your days in good health, free of illness, is what everyone wants most. The period during which people can work in good health gets longer by that much too, which carries real meaning for Japan and for society. What are your thoughts on that?
Kazuki, I couldn't agree more. People who've lived longer hold far more knowledge and experience than we do. If they could put that to use and contribute over a long time, society would actually advance faster, wouldn't it? But unfortunately, people can't copy their information over to someone else. Our current technology can't do it. If only we could pull it out on a memory chip and hand it over. E. coli can do that. It really can pass its memory along. That's why E. coli and other single-celled organisms are said to have no lifespan. They make a copy and shift everything onto it. People can't do that. So in that sense, if knowledgeable people could contribute to society for much longer, the pace at which human society advances would really be faster, I think.
There's meaning on many levels. The health side we just discussed, the benefit to society, of course. And then there are the elderly in particular, people who want to work but find, my body just won't cooperate anymore, so I can't. Or who, after reaching retirement age, are getting by modestly on a pension. There are a lot of them. Big changes could come there too, I'd think. What's your view?
I think you're exactly right. People are at their healthiest, their happiest, their quality of life is highest when they're active, meeting all kinds of people and doing all sorts of things. They want that. But when something's wrong with the body or the whole body ages and declines, their quality of life drops. So, as you say, if people can stay active and connect with others, society really could change.
The people watching this video, our channel, are probably already quite interested in health and in longevity. But if we can keep spreading this information and give more people a chance to think about it, even just as a moment of awareness, that would make us happy.
Yes, that would be wonderful. To sum up today, aging may well be a disease that can be treated. So, working toward that, how we frame aging as a disease and treat it. There are drugs, and there's actual diet and self-health management. How all of that connects to longevity has become much clearer. So if everyone takes these things on board, society as a whole grows healthier. That's something deeply important. On this channel, we'll keep sharing information about cutting-edge medicine, health, and longevity in an easy-to-understand way. So if you'd subscribe and share, we'd be very grateful. Thank you.
And please, be sure to watch the next video.